Shalom. Jacob. Jacob was the forefather of the Israelite nation. Israelites were descended from Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Jacob was renamed Israel. Israel gave birth to 12 tribes, 12 sons, who became the forefathers of 12 tribes. His favorite son was Joseph. Just before he passed away, he blessed all of his sons, he blessed them, each one according to his particular blessing. And for Joseph, he also gave a blessing. And amongst other things, he said to Joseph, of Joseph he said, blessed of the Lord be his land, for the precious things of heaven, for the dew and for the deep that crouches beneath, and the precious fruits, and for the chief things of the ancient mountains, of the everlasting hills, of the earth and the fullness thereof, the goodwill of him that dwelt in the bush. His glory is like the first singing of his bull, and his horns are like the horn of a unicorn. With them he shall push the people together unto the ends of the earth, and they are the 10,000s of Ephraim, and they are the thousands of Manasseh. So this blessing includes quite a few things, quite a few points worth noting. And he blesses Joseph. He blesses Joseph that he should be blessed with agricultural plenty, with good climates, precious fruits, with mineral resources, the chief things of the ancient mountains and the everlasting hills of the earth and the fullness thereof. The goodwill of him that dwelt in the bush, or special providence, a divine providence. His glory is like the firstling of his bull, and his horns are like the horn of unicorn. With them he shall push the people together unto the ends of the earth, and they're the 10,000s of Ephraim, and they're the thousands of Manasseh. So, amongst other things, he says that the firstling of his bull, and his horns are like the horn of a unicorn. So Joseph, these blessings were given to Joseph. See Deuteronomy 33, 13 to 17. They were given to Joseph according to Deuteronomy 33, verses 13 to 17. And amongst other things, he mentions that the firstling of his bull and his horns are like the horn of a unicorn. Now we identify Ephraim with the English and the offshoots of the English, and Manasseh with the USA. But it may be that numerically there are very, very many more of Ephraim in the USA, even though the USA as spiritually and culturally may be considered more the domain of Manasseh, and we will explain that as we go. And we saw that Joseph was referred to as the firstling of his bull. England was nicknamed John Bull. John Bull is a nickname for England. We have a figure, John Bull, a cartoon-type figure, parallel to Uncle Sam, called John Bull. And is universally recognized as a symbol of England. And also, he is referred to as having the horn of a unicorn. This is the King James version. And for different reasons, we accept this interpretation more than others. Okay, the horn of a unicorn and the horn, a bull and a lion and a unicorn are the symbols of England. Lion and the unicorn are the symbols of England. And John Bull is a nickname for England. So this is also an indication that he is here referring to England. He also says that he pushed the people together unto the ends of the earth. And they're the 10,000s of Ephraim and the thousands of Manasseh. The ends of the earth, as we have shown, the ends of the earth are Britain and the USA and other places, the geographical extremities. And the areas that are dominated by these people are the ends of the earth. Australia and New Zealand, they are the ends of the earth. England Britain, the Isles of Britain are at the ends of the earth. North America is at the ends of the earth. And Israel is referred to as the center of the earth. The land of Israel is the center of the earth. See Ezekiel 38, verse 12, referring to a people in the land of Israel dwelling at the center of the earth. So the land of Israel is, according to the Bible, the land of Israel is considered the center of the earth. And the ends of the earth are Britain. And it refers here to the people being pushed of Ephraim and Manasseh being pushed to the ends of the earth, to areas that are the ends of the earth. So the geographical extremities. So we mentioned that is where those people are to be found. The very name Angleterre, meaning English, England in French, Angleterre, means or can be understood to mean the end of the earth. The prophet Isaiah refers several times to the lost end tribes being at the ends of the earth. Famous commentary on the Bible, that of Rabbi Abraham ibn Ezra, 1089 to 1165 approximately, he referred to England as being at the ends of the earth, Angleterre, the ends of the earth. And this is where Joseph was predicted that Joseph would receive his inheritance at the ends of the earth. Also, his horns would be like a horn of a unicorn, and a lion and a unicorn are the symbols of Britain. Should we Scotland, on the coat of arms of Scotland, you have two unicorns. So Scotland is also included in this. And it was predicted that they would push together until the ends of the earth. Also mentions the 10,000s of Ephraim and the thousands of Manasseh. Now, these words 10,000s, it could also mean tens, thousands of thousands, millions. And also, but at all events, it gives 10,000 to Ephraim and thousands to Manasseh. So that indicates that Ephraim will be more plentiful, more numerous than Manasseh. And if we identify the British Isles as Ephraim and the USA as Manasseh, we get just the opposite. The USA has far larger population than Britain does. Far larger population than Britain does. To all events, both Ephraim and Manasseh would be pushed together to the ends of the earth, according to this. And the ends of the earth are those areas they now dwell in. The English are named after the Angles. The Angles and the Saxons conquered England. They came and conquered England, and they created the polity of England. And England is named after the Angles. The name Angle is a way of pronouncing Angle. That on the continent, the Angles were sometimes referred to as Angle, and otherwise referred to as Agle. Not only that, but in the original Hebrew, the Hebrew pronunciation of the word Agle, meaning bull calf, can come out with an N, Angle. And this is also now found sometimes in Yiddish, and it's a phonetic pronunciation of the letter in question. And this can be checked up. So Angle is another way of pronouncing Agle. Also, Agle is another way of pronouncing Angle. They're interchangeable. Angles get their name to England. And this is a bull calf that was associated with Ephraim. Now we had the question of population. We saw that it says the 10,000s of Ephraim and the thousands of Manasseh. So let us look at a little bit of the statistics, relevant statistics, and see what we have. The USA population is around 348 million people. So 348 million people. Whereas England is 58.6 million, maybe close to perhaps to 59 million. England is part of the UK. The UK includes England, Scotland, North Ireland and Wales. The total UK population is around 69.3, 69.7 million, 70 million we can say. Also Australia, the offshoots of Britain should also be counted. Australia's population is around 27 million. Canada is 41.6 million. New Zealand is 5.33 million people. South Africa has a population of about 63 million, most of whom are black Africans. They are the majority. The white population of South Africa is about 4.5 million. Many of the white population of South Africa descend from Boers of Dutch, French Huguenot, and German ancestry. Nevertheless, we have included them here together with Ephraim for historical reasons. And adding all these figures up, we get for the Ephraimite nations of Ephraim, 148.43 million, approximately 148 million, whereas the USA had 348 million, more than twice, much more than twice the number. Now we can play around with the numbers here and there. We can also be claimed that perhaps more than half the population of the USA are coloured people or other people, non-Israelite people, and then we would get about the same populations for both bodies, even though also in Britain you have a lot of foreigners, a lot of other people. Doesn't matter for our purposes. You get down to the same conundrum, the same question concerning the relative populations of both parties. So one solution that we found was given by Hanatziv. Hanatziv, Rabbi Naphtali Zvi, Yehuda Berlin, 1860, 1893. On Deuteronomy 33, verse 17, he quotes, "His glory is like the firstling of his bull, and his horns are like the horn of a unicorn. The horn of a unicorn, with them he shall push the people together unto the ends of the earth, and they are the 10,000 of Ephraim, and they are the thousands of Manasseh." And he says, Hanatziv, this Rabbi Naphtali Zvi Yehuda Berlin says that Manasseh would be more powerful, more populous. He appointed the blessing in Deuteronomy 33:17, where Ephraim is given 10,000 and Manasseh 1,000, refers to spiritual matters more than material ones. And he also mentions in spiritual matters, Ephraim had the pre-eminence, the precedence, but in ways of the world, Manasseh came first. So that does tie in with identifying the USA with the Manasseh. The USA is more materialistic, and to some degree. The tribe of Joseph, in general, received its sanctity not from Torah learning, but rather from acts of kindness. And again, in ways of the world, Manasseh was first and greater than Ephraim, and that's even in Genesis 48:12. Well, we may conclude that the nations of Joseph, meaning the UK plus its offshoots, plus the USA, are altogether the portion of Joseph, and the USA Manasseh predominates concerning matters of culture and outlook, while the number of descendants physically pertains to Ephraim. That is, it may be suggested, as we have done in the past, that numerically, also in the USA, you have more people from Ephraim than from Manasseh. But nevertheless, in the USA, Manasseh is dominant culturally and spiritually and in other ways. And the nation pertains more to Manasseh. So taking the Ephraimites in the USA, together with those in Britain and elsewhere, you get a predominance of people from the USA. The other solution is that of the Natziv, or this solution may complement the first solution, not necessarily replace it. And the other solution was that the preeminence of Manasseh was in physical matters, whereas Ephraim was more important in the spiritual sense. So we have a lot more proofs, a lot more evidence confirming the assumptions that we have made here. A great deal of evidence that Joseph would be blessed with great material plenty, great riches, and that he would be at the ends of the earth. And this is what we have. This improves that they are descended from Joseph, from Ephraim and Manasseh, and we have much more evidence along these lines. And when you take every piece of evidence together and put them all together, you have a very strong composite picture, which is particularly pertinent to Ephraim and Manasseh, and not pertinent to anyone else. So this in itself is proof that this is where these peoples are. In addition to that, we also have historical evidence and other evidence and numerous proofs from all different sources. May the Lord God of Israel bless you. Thank you.